Who here has played a video game before? Everyone, basically. Has anyone tried to hack a video game? Yeah, 1 or 2, 3, yeah, a few more, yeah, good. So the point I want to get with that is that the proportion of it is quite different. In that most people play a video game but don't think about actually trying to hack it or do anything wacky or crazy or fun with it. So this talks a little bit about that, about trying to find vulnerabilities in places you wouldn't expect. Not just video games, but other places as well. And yeah, and there's some small text present. I apologize. I've tried to make it as big as possible. Either pull out some pocket binoculars if you have them, or come forward and stare at the screen until you read it. I won't mind. So we've got that one. Yep, so a little bit about me. I've started getting into computers very young, doing the thing that probably a lot of people have done, download dodgy mods from the internet, get a virus on your own computer, and your dad moans at you that you have to fix it. So you spend hours trying to fix it, mostly failing until you eventually do, and then go to bed at 1 a.m. and then get moaned at for waking up at 9 o'clock the next day. So that was me, and then did a lot of DevOps and development mostly on my early days, moved into penetration testing at NCC Group, and now at Pentest Partners, who Aaron here and Dave and a few others are also by the desk out there with a doll. Kayla was the doll's name? Yeah, Kayla. Go have a word with them. Very cool, hacker doll sort of stuff. And yeah, if you want to contact me, Linktree is there, and I have blog and stuff. I don't use Twitter or anything like that, but you can find me on Mastodon. Always happy to take messages. So before I get started, so normal warning. The bug is pretty much like low risk. The one I'm going to highlight, it's mainly a war story about that, but don't try it on places that you don't have permission to. Normal warning there. And it comes with, the exploit itself comes with a lot of hoops and jumps to go through. So mitigations wise, there's a lot you can do to stop it. It's not like be all end all. This is how you clone someone with a malicious game server. And yeah, if you see any AI pictures, yell at me because I think they're all not AI. But if they are, then I've failed the test. So yeah, this is, like I said, a bit of a war story. It's a bit of a demonstration or case study, really, of how you can hack things that you don't normally expect to be hackable, whether that's video games, ships, dolls, airplanes, all sorts of fun stuff you can play around with. And we'll talk about roughly what I did, the process I went through in this research, what sort of questions I asked myself going through it, hopefully imparting that knowledge onto you on how you can do your own research into fun stuff that you encounter in day-to-day life and you may not realize is hackable. And yeah, dog pictures throughout because cats are very much prominent in this industry and I want to be the source of change for that. So it started with an idea. Dave, who's just walking in the back, may recognize this one. Thanks for the assistance on that. Yeah, no hiding allowed. And it starts with that idea in that you have a general query that you've tinkered with in the back of your mind for a while. So this message was posted at work in our research Teams chat, just to get an idea around what sort of stuff people looked into the past around hacking video games. There's some great examples out there on the internet if you are interested in stuff outside of the game I'm talking about specifically. So yeah, thanks to everyone at Pentest Partners for the input on that. So what is the game? This game is called Armor Free. It's a sandbox shooter. First and third person, can be changeable. You can think of it like, in like the basic terms, like Minecraft, but more for military simulation, whether that's tanks, aircraft, Navy, that sort of thing. It's very modular. It's built for modding. So making mods in this game is very, very easy, as you can see with this guy getting launched into the stratosphere in that corner. No idea what he's using. I've had about 2,000 hours or so into it over the past 10 years or so. So it's quite an old game and comes with a few quirks here and there, as we'll find out. The main part of it in terms of hacking is the programming language or scripting language that comes with, called SQF. you can write stuff in that language to make stuff happen in the game as part of a mod or a mission or whatever you want to share around. So this is what it looks like. Terrible font size again, but you can think of it as like a very, very poorly and documented version of C or C++. You can see some similarities with it. It's very much a pain to code in. It's not fun, but it does allow for the scripting of events and other functionality in the game that may happen. It can do all sorts of things like that. So I had to use it a lot back in my days when I used to play this game pretty much every day, when I used to make mods for it. And this is what I wanted to look into, because I knew it had this quirky functions and quirky ways of using it. You can then try and think, oh, can we turn this around somehow? So I knew there was a way for you to call DLLs within the game. For those who don't know, DLLs are dynamic link libraries. This is a common way of sharing libraries around with within Windows specifically, but it can be used in Linux in some regards as well. It's a core part of this game because mods can include DLLs as part of their distribution, whether that's through the Steam Workshop or through just passing player to player. They run on both the server and the client who connects to a server, and you can essentially include whatever you want in them. They do follow a strict format, but you can include whatever code you want that's compatible with a DLL. And yeah, they are kind of critical to how the game works, as well as any popular mods that run on it. Sorry. So that's when my research brain sort of got thinking, and this is what I want to get across, is that we have this dodgy looking function that can call DLLs in the game, and you can theoretically share this DLL around through the Steam Workshop and other ways of sharing it. So what if we turn that head around to embedding malware within a DLL? Will the game recognize that? Is there a way around it? And can we potentially abuse it to gain access through someone's computer if they join your malicious server that's running a mod with this DLL inside? So this is essentially how it starts. Is you take an example mod provided by the developers of the game. This is just the normal stuff. Nothing too exciting in there. You include a malicious DLL. This is just something you can generate with Metasploit at home. And that's all you really need to get started with something like that. Unfortunately, this doesn't work completely out the box because the anti-cheat BattlEye does provide a block for this and includes it with the wiki that only any DLLs that have been allowed listed specifically by them can be run on this server or on someone's device. And to do that, you have to actually email them and get them to approve it, which theoretically is probably quite easy, but don't try that. Definitely not with malicious software, because you will probably get found out. But if you're curious, it gives you a nice, very misleading message if you do try and load a malicious DLL, and says no, basically. So this is a very, very old bug, and one way around it in the past that someone has found is using self-signed certificates. So if you write your DLL with your malicious code inside, you then sign it with a certificate that you've written yourself at home. BattlEye, which is the anti-cheat in the past, has previously just accepted that DLL as fact, which is why they introduced the whitelisting mitigation for it. So this is by a guy on a popular game hacking forum called Guido, one of the two. And he discovered that all the way back in 2013, I believe. So it's quite an old bug. So I thought, why don't I just try with this first and see what we can play around with. So this is the process of signing the DLL with my own certificate. can see the process there of making the certificate and then signing it down here with the sign tool with Windows. All of this comes packaged with Windows. I don't think by default anymore, but it's still publicly available. You can grab it whenever you want. So I didn't think this would work because of the previous mitigations that the anti-cheat is aware of. So we very much worked around it. So I made this malicious mod that literally just opens a connection to someone's computer and distributed it to the Steam Workshop privately at first, and then opened it only to specific links if you are added by the mod author, which in this case is me. The Steam Workshop, unfortunately, as it's been found in the past, is not very good at antivirus scanning and has had a lot of issues around distribution of malicious software. That includes mods as well as games, and it's a bit of a problem in that there's no real protections for gamers in this regard. Because I thought initially when I uploaded this mod, I thought Steam was going to send me an email saying go away. But no, it's still up there even today. You can still grab it, and it's same for a lot of things, like this story which some people know. A guy called Rastaland had his crypto wallet drained of $38,000, and he was a cancer patient, so he lost all of his treatment money through that. So it can get quite serious, and there are real world problems with this. And some of you may have seen recently, if any of you know BeamMG, the popular mod for that, BeamMP, got popped recently, and username, passwords, emails all got leaked onto the internet. So it's even prominent today. So I'll quickly gloss over this. This is just a case of popping the code into the initialization function. What this essentially does in the game is that it will trigger when the player loads into the game and to the mission, and that return shell will call our malicious code and run it as soon as the player logs in. So we published that to the Steam Workshop as well, making sure to include it as a dependency. So if you download the mission, you download the mod. And then you run your own server that includes the mod, and then you can send that around to whoever you want to target specifically with it. It's worth noting, BattlEye does prevent this. So there is a lot of, this is still quite an old mod, and there's a lot of mitigation around it for this case. So hopefully this demo video will work. So on the top left, you can see the victim joining a server I've set up and connecting to it directly with my mod loaded. On this bottom one, we have just a basic Kali Linux running a listener that will trigger when the player loads into the server. As you can see, once he past me, presses OK. It's worth noting that this is running without BattlEye. So if it was running with BattlEye, this exploit would fail. But there's a lot of servers out there that are not running BattlEye for both resource and operating system restrictions. Anyone who's played many games in the past will realise that. As you can see, we've got access to the computer at the bottom. So there's a lot of mitigations. As I said already, BattlEye says no. And even if this was back in the days when this exploit would work, you'd still either need to buy a code signing certificate, which $500 max. It's not that expensive, but it is still a mitigation there. There are leaked ones out there. NVIDIA in the past has leaked their own code signing certificates, which may be authorized, or you can social engineer the person to install your own certificate locally. Assuming BattlEye is disabled, then you can run you still need to convince the person to join your server and install your mod, which Armour Free's been out for 15 years. Most people are pretty locked into what mods they want and don't want these days. So if you do run something like that, you're going to have a hard time convincing someone to install your mod, but it's still a risk. And yeah, as you saw before, the game does crash when you run this, which to any semi-technical user is probably going to worry a little bit once they see that. Cool. Next slide, please. So at the time this has been reported to both to Battleline in the past, they very, very justificationally said that it's not really their problem, which in fairness, they're right. There's a lot of risk to go around in that they've done the best they can to try and reduce this exploit. They don't allow it on any servers running their anti-cheat anymore. The developer themselves has also put it in the wiki that don't run mods that you probably shouldn't, that you probably are not aware if they're trusted or not. But at the same time, a lot of mods rely on this functionality of DLLs. So where do you assign risk? Do you assign it to the user? Do you assign it to the developer? Or do you assign it to the anti-cheat? There's a lot of blame and a lot of risk to go around. So to summarize, I guess, is very much go hack something you own that's a bit weird, a bit wacky. Go out there and discover new things about whether it's like a weird Bluetooth speaker you have, a video game, or a doll, or just something weird out there. You'll have a play because you might be surprised about what you find. And keep in mind that even if you do find something, make sure you research it and share it with the community. It's always great to see these fun bugs out there. It makes a lot of interesting conversations around it. So that's it, really. I don't know if we have time for questions. Probably not. But if you
we're about at time. But if anyone's got a question, yeah,
go for it.
So I know like a lot of mods for games are kind of written in Lua and executed on virtual machines and stuff. This is the first I've heard of a game server and a client actually, loading an executable and executing it like that. Do you know of any other games that do this? Just
yeah. So the question for the recording is, do I know of any other games that can execute executables in that regard, such as DLLs? Not off the top of my head. There are a few Bohemia-based games, specifically like Davies and the other Armour installations, that have this same functionality. I imagine a lot more exist. So if you know of any, have a play. Yep.
Do you reckon I'd be able to do something like this to one like the big games as you Fortnite?
Probably, yeah. Fortnite's probably a little bit more difficult because the anti-cheat and that is a lot stronger, and it runs. I think that one runs like kernel level anti-cheat, whereas BattlEye is very much not that. So you might struggle to get through with something like that. But on the other hand, I don't know of any public mods or exploits for Fortnite. So have a go, see what you can find.
Good. Right, yeah, good. Go for it and let us know next year.
You can be up here.
Yeah, brilliant. Great question. All right, thank you.